back, everybody. New consumer data shows that Canadian debt hit $2.5 trillion in the second quarter of 2024, and credit card debt has grown to its highest level in nearly 2 decades.
And while almost all Canadians are feeling the pinch right now, the data shows that young adults are being hit the hardest. So we're here to find out exactly why and also share tips on how to get debt levels back under control. Money expert and keynote speaker Robyn Thompson is back. Welcome, Robyn. So, you know, listen, you know me, I love talking about money so much. But let's start with overall consumer debt, because $2.5 trillion, that is a ton of debt. So how did we actually get there in the first place?
Yeah, it's a lot of money. When you hear that number, it's actually staggering. Yeah. And, you know, like 20-year high, it's insane. Yeah. So when you think about where we are, I mean, inflation is coming down, interest rates are coming down, but it's taking a while, and we actually haven't seen it trickle down into actually the pocketbooks of consumers. So we're still feeling that crunch when it comes to money. And over time, people have just spent money, and we've had housing crisis, but we're seeing a lot of it come from the younger generation. So a lot of debt that they're carrying. We're actually seeing like 2/3 of Canadians paycheck to paycheck in the younger generation.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because like earlier in the show, we were just talking about how expensive life is, so we're all feeling it. But why are young people in particular susceptible to that credit debt?
So I think let's all think back to when we were 18 and we get our first credit card, right? We get the first credit card, and then we start to establish our credit. So they give us a little bit of credit, and then we start to continue to pay down the money, and then they give us more credit. And then we keep spending more money until we get to a point where we see that it's gotten too high. So then we get a loan or a line of credit that's cheaper, and we pay off the credit card. Now we're at a lower interest rate. And now we feel a bit of relief. We're like, oh, credit card's low. Maybe I should just get a little thing here, a little thing there. And then the cycle starts all over again. So it's about understanding when you first get the card, how do you put those principles and habits in place so you're not borrowing an interest rate high. So
makes me think that there's a reason those first credit cards, like mine had a limit of $500, and now I understand why.
I had one of those ones you had to prepay. You actually had to give them the $500 in order to spend it. So,
Robyn, what are the other factors that contribute to the debt loads in this generation of young adults?
Well, there's something called lifestyle creep. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard about it, but it's when you increase your income, so you're getting a bump in income, but you're bumping up your lifestyle. So instead of taking it and saving it for either paying down debt or for investments, you're inflating what you're spending. So you're creeping up on your lifestyle expenses, which is one of them, which is really interesting. The next one is that everything that we want, it's pretty much 24, 48 hours away with a tap and a delivery man, or delivery person. So I think it's about the accessibility of product. It's the accessibility of items coming to our doors without having to go out. It's also marketing. Social media is, you know, it is an advertising beast. So, you know, I think it's just about being really intentional about what it is that we're spending our money on.
Well, the data shows that adults aged 26 to 35 had the highest rate of missed credit card payments. So why are young adults more under financial stress than others?
Yeah, so we think about where we are, especially when it comes to younger people. They are in their first jobs, so they're not making the huge amounts of money that they like to be making later on in their career. And when we see things so expensive, like housing and consumer goods, so we've got prices are high, interest rates are still high, and their income is low. So they have that debt that they have to bridge over, so they're borrowing to do that. So a lot of it's coming from, again, from student loans, it's coming from a career, and then the housing is a real problem. They're either trying to save up to buy a house or to get into the market, or they're paying really high rents in a lot of places across the country. So they're in this really tight spot of how do I actually get into the market, and you know, maybe I don't need a tooth or some pizza. Like, you know, where do we take it from? Where do we take it from? So yeah. I was watching that.
Oh my God, I'm dead. Okay, let's talk about credit scores.
Yes, credit scores.
I mean, first of all, do they still matter? And what is this doing to the credit scores of the young people?
I mean, the credit score is one of the most fundamental financial gifts you can give to yourself, because it really is the testament of who you are as a person when it comes to your credit. When people loan you money, they want to be able to say, am I going to get this back? Like, am I actually going to receive this money back? So credit score actually tells people, oh, she pays her debts on time, or he pays his debt on time. They are credit worthy. They are worthy of us extending credit to them. And when it comes to young people, make sure that you're paying it on time or it could really hurt your credit score. Make sure that you are only using up to 30% of the available credit allowed to keep that utilization room low. So you continue to build the credit. Because this is how you're gonna buy a house, if you wanna start a business, finance it. This is how you get access to capital, is to have good credit. Bad credit, no bueno. No bueno.
So what is the best way for a young adult to tackle their credit debt?
Well, the first thing is to understand that, first of all, credit is a privilege. Not everyone gets credit. And it can be taken away from you at any time. So make sure that when you're starting down that road of credit is to understand what is this doing for me? It's not meant to be a shopping product or a tool to be able to go out and spend frivolously. It's meant to build up your foundation, your financial foundation. You may need to start with cash for a little while. Maybe spend 2 months in cash. I know you're not gonna get your reward points and you're gonna have to use paper, but maybe it'll start to give you some more confidence around the money that you're spending and bring the budget more into control. And I think it's really just about being mindful about the things that you're spending on and understanding that you could spend now, but what you really want later, the big things that you want later, won't be available to you if you just waste your money away.
It's so easy to spiral out of control. I think we've all been there. So what are your tips, Robyn, for using that credit responsibly so that doesn't happen?
So I would first of all make sure that when you're buying credit or you're getting credit, you're actually using it for an intended purpose. So credit should be something that you're using to buy something to increase in value. If you do like reward miles, I know a lot of people put their stuff on their cards. I do that. I'll buy it on my card. The next day I'll pay it off. So I'll make sure that I'm paying it off right away. I want those reward points, but I want the good credit. Make micropayments. If you're feeling overwhelmed by making those big one-time payments, make them smaller and smaller so the resistance goes away. And you'll get used to it, and you'll pay less interest over the term of your credit holdings because you're paying less interest because you're paying it down almost every day.
Okay.
Oh, we always feel smarter if you've been here, Robyn. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Great reminders, good lessons. Okay. Don't go shopping online on this commercial break, okay? Just sit there for a second because we'll be back right after this.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.